Krishna, welcome everybody. Who is new? We have new? Coming for the first time.
Yeah.
How do you get connected?
I actually went to the center in India, the GEV center, like 2 hours outside Mumbai. So I've known about the Hare Krishna temple for a while.
Okay, so we'll do some kirtan. Everybody knows what's kirtan, right? We have our veterans here who've been coming for years. They know everything about kirtan. Okay, simple kirtan is our routine, and then we will go into a very interesting topic, into the regions of the universe and how sound is pervading.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
All together.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Thank you very much for everybody for joining. My name is Matanga, and I've been living in Brooklyn for 2 years. I've been traveling around Western Europe and India and studying the yoga philosophy, the Vedas, and yeah, I joined this project recently, a year and a half ago here in New York. Very exciting, very nice, where we're trying to share this ancient wisdom for the modern world, which is very much in need of many things. We see in big cities like New York, everybody's, a little bit crazy, a little bit lonely maybe, sometimes in anxiety, sometimes fearful. So we pretty much need some, we're all looking for peace and for freedom. And this is the symbol of New York. Statue of Liberty is there. Liberation. Because everybody is experiencing some kind of uncomfort. Everybody is feeling kind of in an unnatural state in this world. And it is very interesting because we find this information in these Vedic texts, these scriptures which are present since thousands of years, and it is even said that they've been written thousands of years ago, but before that, they've been always existing. This sound, transcendental sound vibration, it's always been there. It doesn't have beginning and end. So, in the last Tuesday program, we had a journey to South India. There was a lot of flights and taxis going up and down North India, West India, South India. Susi Prabhu was visiting all these holy places. But now we're going to embark on an even greater journey to the origin of the universe. And I have this beautiful slide here. Don't get too intimidated by it. It's just to set up the scene, because it's important for us to understand how exactly things are working. So we know from the Vedic text that in the beginning there was the effulgence of the spiritual world, which is called the Brahma Jyoti, which is the impersonal kind of light that is emanating from the transcendental world. And that effulgence basically at one point becomes transformed into a material element. But it's not exactly the material elements that we find here, that we see in this world. It's kind of the primordial mass. It's called pradhana, primordial mass. And then that primordial mass basically gets agitated by the inconceivable potency of time. So by the potency of time, everything starts to move around. This non-dual substance starts to get mixed up here and there. I don't know exactly what happens, don't ask me details. But at one point, the four elements are formed: earth, water, fire, ether. But before them, there is the first element, which is called the false ego. Even people from the street, if you stop them and you ask them, do you know what's the ego? And probably they will give you some explanation. And many will even tell you, oh yeah, I know one friend, he has a big ego. He has a big false ego. sometimes when somebody is puffed up. So it's common. We know kind of about the ego, and that is the first element that is generated through which the soul identifies with this world. And from the false ego, basically, the interaction with the false ego and the other elements of material nature, various other elements come out. For example, when the false ego interacts with the mode of nature, which is called sattva or goodness, the mind is generated. And afterwards, the false ego interacts with rajas or passion, which is basically the will to create. And then intelligence is being generated. And afterwards, when the false ego interacts with tamas, or the kind of the lowest quality of material nature, so it's like top quality, middle quality, and lowest quality, tamas. Then sound is generated. That is basically the most subtle element. And then from sound, ether is generated. And then from ether, you have all the other elements. You have fire, and then the sense of touch. You know, it's detailed. I won't go so much into detail. Then you have water, and then the most gross type of element is earth. And every element contains all the others. So first is the sound, which is present in the ether, and then afterwards you have water, which is fire, which contains sound and ether, and then water contains fire, sound, and ether, and earth contains all the other elements. So to understand how sound is the basis of all this scheme. So this transcendental sound, the primordial sound, is all pervasive, just like I was explaining. It's called Nada Brahma or Shabda Brahman, the original sound of the universe. We find in the scriptures, even in the Christian tradition, we find this very famous verse in the Gospel of John, which says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." And we find also from the Rig Veda a very similar verse. And the Rig Veda is kind of, according to the modern scientists, is the oldest scripture known to humanity. And it says, "In the beginning, God and His Supreme Spirit alone existed. From the Supreme Spirit of the God proceeded Hiranyagarbha." And Hiranyagarbha basically is the first living entity which comes into this world. Or he is designated as the engineer of the universe. And he gets empowered by Krishna to create. And again, there is a pastime. Everybody who's from India probably knows this pastime well. So in the beginning, Brahma was generated from the navel of Mahavishnu or Krishna. It's another expansion of Krishna. And then Brahma, he came into this world and it was all dark and he didn't know anything. He didn't know who he is, what's happening. He was just afraid. And then he dipped himself into the ocean. There was this ocean where Brahma was generated on a lotus flower, and there was this Karana ocean, causal ocean. So he tried to figure out what's going on. He dipped himself in the water. He went down. He went up because there was no end to it, and he couldn't proceed much. And then he came back, and he was so frustrated he didn't know what to do. But at one point he heard one word, tapa, which meant austerity, undergo austerity. So Brahma, he understood inside of his heart that he had to engage into meditation. And so he did. He engaged himself into 10,000 years of meditation, and then the transcendental sound vibration was revealed to him by Vishnu, who came, and he revealed basically the Vedas, all the mantras which are necessary for Brahma to create, basically. And of course, we know the famous Omkar. That is basically the original sound vibration. In front of every verse in the Vedas, you will find this Om vibration, which is composed by 3 syllables. Om Namo Bhagavate. And so Brahma, he received this knowledge, this wisdom, which is without any human origin. It's coming from the spiritual world. And this transcendental sound is perfect just because of that, because it's not made by a human being. A Paurusheya, which means no human origin, is exactly explaining how the original transcendental sound is ever existing in the spiritual world and is being handed down through this succession. And we find in the books like the Bhagavad Gita, for example, there are verses where when one hears them, basically one can understand the deeper reality. One can expand his consciousness. We have the famous verse which says in 2:13, Krishna explains how Dehi nosmi nita dehe, from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul is transmigrating, and then at death, the soul goes to another body. So by hearing this transcendental sound, one can realize a different type of reality where he understands, I'm not this body and I'm not this mind, which are basically the things that are making us confused. The false ego, the false identification. Or we have another verse which says, 5:2, Yehi samsparsha jabhoga, that the sages, those who are sober, they don't engage into material pleasures which have a beginning and an end. Because such pleasures, they don't give permanent satisfaction, and they're not actually satisfying the soul. Nowadays, when we hear these mantras, we might have some realization, we might have some understanding, but it is understood that in the past, thousands of years ago, people, they had more advanced kind of minds and intelligence, so they were able to remember more. They had memory. They were able to just hear once and remember that instruction. So by hearing "you're not the body," for example, one was able to realize it literally. Nowadays, it's not so easy. We have to hear it again and again and again and again. And we have to practice, and we keep forgetting. Our lifespan is smaller, and we're afflicted by so many diseases and inconveniences which are coming from the modern world. And this transcendental sound was being received in this manner. That's why it's called Shruti, which means that which is heard, and it was handed from person to person orally. It wasn't necessary to to be written down because people were intelligent enough. But then at one point, these mantras they needed to be written down. And so these mantras, these transcendental sounds that were received by Brahma, they're called bija or seed mantras. So transcendental sound basically is non-different from the object. So Brahma, when he was pronouncing the bija mantras with which he was creating the world, he was saying the word water, for example, which is no different from water. And this mantra was generating water. Or he was saying the word mountain, and mountain was appearing. And in this way, Brahma, he created all the planetary systems and all the other necessary ingredients and all the progenitors which populated the universe, all the animals, insects, aquatics, and so forth. These representatives. And this sound vibration, as we were exploring before, it is present everywhere, and it is present also inside of us, because we are also composed of the elements. And even the soul itself is vibrating a certain frequency, the desire to enjoy the world, for example. It's like there is a certain frequency that every single living entity is emitting, which is saying basically, I want to enjoy, I want to enjoy, 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 enjoy. And that desire then becomes connected with the intelligence, which is kind of the second level of sound vibration. So whenever you want to enjoy something, then a desire comes. For example, one wants to fly, one wants to ride a plane. So the desire comes in the form of intelligence, the subtle thought. And then the intelligence is still like a very compressed sound, and then it gets employed into the mind. And then in the mind, it comes into the form of idea. So when one has this desire, then one starts planning in the mind, okay, I want to do this, so what do? I need a plane, so I need these ingredients, I need to consult some people, and then what is the next level of sound? How do you think? After the thinking process, what comes next? We start speaking about it, naturally. When we start planning about something, then naturally we will find somebody, we'll start discussing, we have this plan in mind, we can devise this machine, and we can fly. Enjoy the world even more, You're flying above and you're looking, you're feeling great, You're dominating. And then afterwards, of course, the subtle sound which we had in our body becomes transformed into a creation, either a plane, or once Prabhupada, our spiritual teacher, asked his disciples, how did all these skyscrapers come about? How did it begin? And they started saying, they brought some concrete, and they did this and that. Prabhupada said, no, they started speaking about it. And this is very, very interesting how it works. Yeah, and with sound one can create, but one can also destroy. For example, in the past, there's a clear example. We have we had emperors who just with one sentence they could kill a person. Doesn't like somebody, okay, that's it. Throw him to the jail and then throw him to the lions, maybe. And or we can also inspire people. You know, you can say something nice to somebody, and that can change his life. So by our words, by our intention, we can create and destroy. Literally, we have the same potency as Brahma, who is like the big creator, and he also has the same potency, not the same in quality, the same potency, but in quantity, of course, Krishna, the creator. And we have also the same propensity, but in a smaller quantity. And we also find in the modern science, there is this branch which is called semantics, which is the study of wave phenomena. Everybody heard of it? You heard it. It's very interesting. So the scientists, they took a membrane and some sound. They put a sound, sound through it, and they put also some sand on top. And they noticed that by running different frequencies through it, it's forming all these very beautiful geometrical shapes. We see 345 hertz. It's like a star. And look at the 2041 hertz. Does it remind you of something? Does it look like something familiar, maybe?
Which one is that one?
The one here, 2041, maybe not everybody can see it. And all the other ones, maybe we can see their familiar shapes that we can find basically in nature. Like that one I was particularly indicating. That looks a little bit like the turtle's shell, for example. And when they run certain frequencies, for example, the pattern of the sunflower came about, or of the rose petals. So then they also tried the same thing with water, and water started generating even much more other complex shapes and varieties. And they also added some cornstarch or some type of similar substance to the water. And this is what happens. That's basically a speaker with water and some cornstarch or some other substance which makes it a little bit more solidified. And what you see, they become kind of even more complex and sometimes even creepy. And this one looks like a mini version of, I don't know, Appalachian mountains. You know, looks like mountains. In this way, the modern scientists, they started exploring this. There is one scientist from Japan, I don't remember the name exactly. He also conducted this experiment where he took different types of water and he for example, said a word to the water, or he just exposed the water to different emotions from people. Or he took a water that is polluted and he froze it, and he saw that the crystals were kind of distorted, not really beautiful. But if he took water from the source, from the mountain somewhere, he froze a little particle and you find these beautiful geometrical figures, just like in the snow. And in the same manner, he took a glass of water and one person expressed compassion into the water, or he said thank you, and then he froze it, and that's what came up. And then he took a water and he ran heavy metal music through it. That's what came about. Or somebody said, I want to kill you. And these ugly crystals came about. And another interesting thing is that he took polluted water, which is basically the last image, the lower one. That was polluted water from sewage, and he brought it to a Buddhist temple where the Buddhists, they were praying and chanting the Om vibration, and then he froze it, and basically it became like that. Beautiful. It was restored, basically. So this is basically what we can understand from this experiment, is that the sound is shaping our reality and it's determining our consciousness. So with whatever sound we associate in our life, this is what will determine the quality of our life. If we associate with destructive sound, disharmonious sound, which can be coming to us even like in the form of a dirty environment or just toxic people, or literally listening to music which is not very harmonic. This will affect our consciousness, our present state of mind, and this will, on a subtle level and also on a gross level, will make us experience reality in a different manner. Because we are made of water. 60 to 70% human body is the adult human body is made of water. So whenever we're getting exposed to all these frequencies, we're getting affected. So how sensible we have to be and selective to our environment and the people that we are associating with. So if you want to improve our life, we have to improve the quality of our sound in our life. Food, water, environment, people, and everything. And then there was another very interesting experiment. But first, there was this doctor, Elizabeth Blackburn, who won a Nobel Prize because she discovered a very interesting enzyme in our cells, which is called a telomere, which is basically a part of our chromosomes, part of the DNA that is comparable to the plastic tips of our shoelaces. And that thing basically is keeping our genetic material from unraveling, and which is basically the thing that is leading to disease, to aging prematurely, to all this kind of chronic disease, cancer, and so forth. So if one has good telomeres, if they're in good shape, means he will be, healthy and he will live longer, of course. And by discovering this, then they conducted other experiments where they were putting different individuals through a healthy lifestyle, for example, or they put a group of people for a certain period of time, for a month or so, listening to relaxing music every day for a certain amount of time. And then after 1 month, they saw that there was a 3% increase of this telomere enzyme. They were getting restored. And they also conducted the same experiment with mindfulness meditation, or they also call it transcendental meditation, for a few months, and then they came back, they tested, and they saw that there was 17% increase of the telomeres. And they also conducted experiment with mantra meditation, which is kirtan. So this is what happened. Yes, they got increased by 43% by listening to and repeating the mantras, transcendental sound vibrations, especially the Hare Krishna mantra. And in this way, we understand that by practicing this chanting of the mantras, by reading the transcendental instructions in the Bhagavad Gita, for example, by contemplating on them, by engaging our intelligence of understanding all these subtle principles, and also by associating with people who are more advanced than us, who have been into the process for so many years, when we are doing it on our own, either on a subtle platform in our mind, when we are doing silent meditation or japa. Many of you know what is that, chanting with the rosary. Or even better than that, coming all together like this and chanting the mantras together with some musical instruments out loud. It's even more powerful. And even more powerful than that is going out and sharing it with everybody else. And because we're all connected in this field of sound, it is basically benefiting them and is benefiting us unconditionally. This is the only asset that the more we share it, and the more we'll get it back. It's not like your money balance in the bank that the more you give and the more you don't have, it just expires at one point. But with sharing this knowledge and the mantras with the people and their benefit, we're getting it back. We're getting that much back. And if we understood now from this presentation how beneficial is how sound is all pervading everything. It is present everywhere inside of us on a soul level, cellular level, mind, intelligence. It is present in all the other elements. By understanding what is the best quality of sound, which is the spiritual sound, of course, we have to increase the dose and continue practicing, because this will basically grant us more and more, not just material health, but it will grant us deeper and deeper realizations and deeper happiness. That's the thing that we are all looking for. So this is what I wanted to say. If there are any doubts, if somebody wants to comment something or question, now is the time.
You said that we're 70% water.
Yes.
Isn't our constitution, in essence, consciousness?
Our constitution. Yes. On spiritual platform, we are different from water, air, fire, or earth, or even the gross sound that we're hearing now in this. We're even more subtle then the mind and the intelligence and the false ego. These are all the elements basically. So it is explained how the soul is beyond this, and on that transcendental platform, there is no water as we perceive it here. So there is consciousness. The symptom of life is consciousness, the energy of the soul. Is it responding?
Thank you.
What are thoughts? Thoughts.
What are thoughts? Thoughts are energy, sound vibration, very subtle sound vibration.
Where do they come from?
Where do they come from? From the mind.
What is mind?
What is mind? The mind is a technology.
Technology? God's technology? Whose technology?
Somebody's technology.
Whose technology is the mind?
It's your technology.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? That's right. Because it's
Maybe it is, I don't know.
we're using this
It
technology.
is now, but
No, we are using this technology,
yeah.
but this technology is being created.
Who does it belong to? This
Well,
technology?
everything belongs to divinity. Everything belongs to Krishna. Because, like we explored in the beginning, the transcendental sound was given to Brahma, who was the creator. So, by the sound vibration, he was able to create everything else. So all these technologies, all these subtle technologies, they are generated from that transcendental vibration, basically. So they are given by the Lord. So everything is property of the Lord. We cannot claim property because now we have it, tomorrow we won't have it anymore because we will depart. So this is proof that
So there is nothing like, there are no forces. What about these negative forces?
negative forces,
Yeah.
which
Where do they come from?
are these negative forces?
I don't know. The ones fighting us.
Yeah, we're always fighting something.
Let's call the Maya. We're
But
calling
what-
it Maya, right?
Yes, but they say what is poison for somebody is food for another.
I don't think this implies.
Yes.
What I'm trying to ask you is like, not necessarily. Like, is there good force or there's bad force or no? Like, what's fighting Krishna?
No, my point is, how are we able to understand what is good and what is bad?
I don't know.
Yes, so what is good and what is bad, we also have to turn to the scriptures, because many times we will consider things that are bad, that we're fighting, we'll consider them bad, but they might not be actually bad. So from our perspective, we're seeing good, we're seeing bad, we're seeing hot, cold, ugly, beautiful. We're seeing these dualities. But from the transcendental perspective, everything is good. Understand? Even the things that
Is
are...
it? This is the question more. Yes, this is the question.
Yeah, so
On
even...
this level, is everything really good? This is like, there are no forces fighting us.
Well, the ultimate good is to realize what are we actually. This is the
Yes.
ultimate good. This is
That's
the
what
only
I'm
good.
trying to do.
Yeah, and everything else is secondary.
Yeah.
So even if it may appear good, it's not good because it has nothing to do with the real question: who am I and what am I doing here? Is it good to give food to the homeless people or to give education to the children in Africa?
I was trying to talk a little bit more like, how in religion you have idea of what's good, what's bad, but I guess we don't go there here.
No,
Necessarily, we don't have to go there.
no. That's what I'm trying to explain.
Okay.
So what is good and what is bad?
Yeah.
We're finding in.
And who does it belong to thoughts? Like, what is the good and what is bad? Like, why when you like, you get high on drugs, like you get all kinds of strange thoughts,
Yeah.
like some entities.
So I'll put it in a simple
Yeah.
manner. Whatever is keeping us in illusion,
Yeah.
whatever is keeping us distant from reality, that is bad. Whatever is bringing us closer to reality,
Clear
that is
mind.
good.
Clear
So
mind.
what is reality? The reality is that we are not this body and we are not this mind. This is the reality. Am I explaining it nicely?
Can I say something?
Yes.
So there's a quote, as you think, so it shall be. So whatever you deem is good
Okay.
becomes good to you,
Yeah.
because you have free choice in that, and whatever you deem is bad becomes bad to you. So we can play with that. So for
Okay.
instance, when you take drugs and you have these thoughts that come in,
Negative.
right, what are thoughts? Thoughts are just sounds of words, right? And you can also have pure sounds, which is pure music, where words and music begins in a way.
I guess it's stored in us. All the words we ever heard, it's stored in us.
Well, it's,
All the words that you ever heard from your
No.
Everything
childhood
that
now.
everything that
technology.
that is existing is stored into space.
In all of
Yes,
us.
even we are stored in space. Everything is existing in this space that we are living in. And sound is also there. All the elements are there.
In space or in us?
Both, both.
Where is it stored?
There are so many details. You know, we can go so much into detail and how exactly does this work? How exactly are the thoughts coming up, and what are these thoughts, and how exactly they work?
It's a little bit deeper stuff, yeah. But
Yeah, but-
do we ever discuss this or no?
Yeah, we discuss it,
No.
but
We don't
the
have
main
to
the
be.
main
Yeah.
the main topic is, you know, understanding the essence, which is that we are in this material world and we want liberation. We want to experience ultimate happiness, and that's what matters the most. That's why we are all here. That's why we're looking to better ourselves. We're looking for perfection, and you know, sometimes details are helpful. Sometimes, you know, you can lose yourself in details. Just like if you know that you have a disease, you know, just cure your disease. Why do you have to go and explore how exactly I got this disease? How exactly does it work? You know, the mosquito bit me, or I was like contacting this person and he spat me a little bit in my eye, and then how exactly did it happen? You know, you have the disease, so just take the medicine and come to the original position where you're like peaceful and joyful. That's what matters. So many details are there. Yes?
The way I like to explain it to my sister is that it's like tuning a radio. You're trying to find the right frequency, and as you're raising your frequency by eating correctly, by doing mantra meditations and, you know, just mind, body, soul, elevating it each day, it's like those lower frequencies, you suddenly realize that you're not so susceptible to them. So as you're raising your own vibration, then you can, you know, just hear more of, as some people say, good than bad. But I like to look at it as more of like a frequency exchange.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's going above. It's going above good and bad.
well, no. The ultimate realization is that you're already liberated right now, and everything is perfect, and everyone is perfect right now. And if you realize that right now, that Krishna is personally here right now, then there is no more seeking. Nothing needs to be done.
Hare Krishna. You have a question here?
Well, it's like a wandering. Because you said something about good thoughts, good sounds, and sounds that are, that picture of sounds that kill or destructive. People are born with or they get older and their voice changes, becomes like worse, or strong voices or weak voices, or some voices are so beautiful and some voices are not. when we do japa, does the quality of our japa, does our voice does it make the quality of the japa we're doing better or worse by according to the voice we have?
That's also a very interesting question.
That's a very valid question.
Very
nice.
interesting.
Yeah, so the quality of our gross voice, whether it is perceptibly beautiful or ugly, it has nothing.
Strong or weak?
Strong or weak, it has nothing to do with how
But
potent.
it's energy that we send with the voice, right?
Yes.
The quality of the energy.
Yes, but it
The
that.
quality of our japa. If we're doing
Yeah,
2
but
rounds,
the most important in the japa is the quality of the subtle sound that we are emitting inside of our heart. Just like I was explaining before, how on a soul level there is also a vibration or a very subtle sound, and this is what Krishna wants to hear when we are desiring to engage into this loving relationship, when we are desiring to serve Krishna. That is the most important.
From the heart.
From the heart, exactly. And then also, because we are here now in these bodies, we also have the mind and intelligence.
Which makes big problems.
And we are identifying.
Asking these stupid
Yeah.
questions.
And we are it's valid. All questions are good. Because we are identifying to the false ego with the mind and intelligence, and they are expanding the sound, the original sound vibration of the soul. They are also to be taken in consideration, because when we are chanting, when we are saying the mantras verbally, we're also thinking. So sometimes you're speaking and you're thinking about something else, and then on an intelligence level you're desiring a completely different thing.
It's a mess.
It's a mess.
When that happens.
And
it
then
happens, yeah.
People like this, they call them double dealers. They say something, they think another, and then they desire another. There is no coherence in their dealings. They are duplicious, maybe. And to a certain extent, we are all having this same problem, especially when we're chanting, because we're saying, Krishna, I love you, but then we're thinking, I want to eat pickles, maybe. And then we're desiring maybe something else. So there are these three levels. But the quality of speech, whether if it's bad or ugly or beautiful, that doesn't determine. Krishna wants our love. From his perspective, we're all like crows,
We are what?
Crows.
crows.
Oh.
When I started doing japa, I couldn't even do 1 round. My voice just couldn't take it. And
Really?
now
You
I
can also do
now
it
I can
silently.
actually do 2 rounds
Nice.
silently. But I was just wondering,
Don't
these
worry.
people with beautiful voices,
Yeah,
and their
Don't
japa
worry.
must be
Your japa might be more potent than somebody who has a beautiful voice, just because you're more sincere. So, most important is sincerity of purpose. When we're sincerely chanting with the mood, like when I was introduced to the mantra meditation, to Krishna consciousness, there was this gentleman who became my mentor, and he was explaining how you're chanting with a certain mood. And that mood is, it's like the child which is crying for the father. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. So if we chant with that type of mood and urgency, this is what makes the difference. This is what will accelerate our process. And
There's one thing that my mind can't seem, it just doesn't seem to to fit in, or to, is that to reach perfection, we should have no desire. You know, like whatever we give without a desire for any return. But if you desire mukti, you're desiring something, and yet you're not supposed to. How can you get to mukti without desiring to get there? That's very hard to fit into the head.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing to desire mukti, which means liberation from suffering, in the beginning especially, because there has to be an impetus for us to move forward. So in a way it's not bad. But then at one point, when the practitioner becomes more and more advanced into his practice, he starts realizing that liberation is not a thing, you know? Just like being healthy. Okay, you're being healthy, but for what? That's the goal of life? Be healthy? You're being healthy, and then what? You know, you're just being healthy whole day and whole year. That's your life, you know, it's so boring, you know, you're just eating these vegetables, tasteless stuff and diets. But what is the purpose? You know, what are you doing? What are the exchanges? You know, where is the relationship? So liberation means cessation of suffering. So liberation from unwanted things. But then what? You're just there, liberated. Hallelujah, hallelujah. And then what?
So
Just floating in space. So that's why one comes to the understanding that the relationship, the love, that is the topmost. And everything else is less. So liberation, pickles, ice cream, flying planes, heavenly planets, this, that, it's all under, so secondary.
well,
Is it responding?
can I say something? To rephrase what I said earlier, Swami Vivekananda says, assert your perfection right now. Everything is perfect, everyone in this room is perfect, and everyone is already liberated. Once you understand that, there's no need to search for liberation.
I have a question, one more. When you say relationship between what and whom? Who is relating to what?
That's a big question.
Like, what is this relationship that we are seeking?
That is the big question. You see, we're seeking.
What is there?
You see, we are. I'll just say.
What is there to relate to?
Yeah, I'll just say it briefly, and then we can move to some more mantra meditation. We are seeking relationships in this world because the relationships are giving us the greatest pleasure. Because this is the driving force of our life. We're Anandamaya, which means we are all pleasure-seeking souls. This is the driving force. And the most pleasure we're getting through relationships, either, you know, mother, child, or husband and wife, or vice versa, or brotherly. You know, these are all variety of relationships. But all these relationships in this world, they are temporary. So even if you found the love of your life, even if you have your pet son or your pet dog, that relationship you will lose sooner or later. Let me just finish. So you will lose this. So we are looking for the original relationship which will never lose any time. That's what Prabhu was explaining here, gentlemen, that relationship is already there in this moment. We just have to realize it, because we are eternal and divinity is also eternal. And by realizing this relationship, we come to our original essence. And it's a relationship of service. Service means loving service.
So this God is in us. We have to connect with Him.
Yes.
And this
And
is
now-
the point.
And now the point is that we all heard this, the philosophy,
Yeah.
and now we're coming to the essence, to the connection. This is it. This is basically the magnum opus. This is the great work. When we concentrate on the transcendental vibration, because we can speak for hours and days and years and so forth, but how can you understand what is the taste of the pudding if you don't realize it by direct perception? So this is the point that certain answers, they're answered through practice. So we have Lucy Prabhu and Noel, who's gonna and Ryan also, yes, who's gonna lead us into the mystical relationship with the transcendental sound, which is non-different. Like I was saying, in Sanskrit, when you say water, there is no difference between water and the word. So when we say Krishna, there is no difference between the sound Krishna and the subject. This is what we have to realize by practice, by concentration.
Thank you, everyone. Now we'll just make a little bit more kirtan, around 15 minutes, and then we'll serve you a nice vegetarian dinner. So, as Matanga said, let's do it together. Are you ready?
Yes.
Can you sing strongly? Okay. So you support us. So we are really, we are doing this first time, okay? So it's experiment. So we need some spiritual support, but also emotional support, not to fail. So you support us, yes? Together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
applause for the performance. We can make a band together. Be also part of the band. You like it?
Yes.
Can travel all over USA and perform. Why not? Only summertime when it's warm. Thank you very much. I hope you like it. If you like it, come again. If you don't like it anyway, come again maybe next time.